Millions of people fill out March Madness brackets every year, chasing the elusive perfect bracket. And every year, millions of us see our brackets bust. There has never been a 100% perfect bracket, according to the NCAA. The longest March Madness bracket tracked online to stay perfect was back in 2019. A man from Ohio correctly predicted the entire tournament into the Sweet 16, and then it fell apart. In fact, the odds of a perfect 63-game bracket is about 1 in 9.2 quintillion. That's 18 zeros. And New York City's National Museum of Mathematics, which engages the public in math, is getting in on all this madness, helping college basketball lovers put together the best bracket that we can. And part of the action is a professor that we love to talk to of mathematics and computer science at Davidson College, Tim Chartier. Tim, welcome. Every year, you and I have this tradition now where we talk this week to prepare our brackets. I hate to say it, though, I have not had a perfect bracket yet, despite our discussions. I'm hoping this year I have better luck. I love that you're in New York City with this National Museum of Mathematics. What's the purpose of being there, and can something like basketball help us enjoy math?
It turns out that if you make a bracket, you're almost certainly using mathematics because many of us look at the statistics of the teams, of the players. I even say that if you're picking your favorite color, you're doing ranking. So there's a certain amount of mathematics even happening in something like that.
So tell me about some of the calculations, the methods you all will be using as you put your math minds together to build your brackets.
One of the big ones can actually surprise people is that it uses linear systems like x plus y equal 5 and x minus 2y equal 10. And those methods are the ones that have been quite successful in the past. I actually had a high school student adapt that method so that she came in 500th place out of over 10 million brackets a few years ago. But you're making your own choices, and sometimes these tournaments are very difficult, and they still are not perfect brackets.
Yeah, you start talking X's and Y's and you lose me there, Tim, but I know there is a science to it. What's the X factor, though? What's something you cannot apply to this that makes it random?
Yeah, it is the randomness. There's two parts of the randomness. One is the fact that a team might be 90% likely to win a game, but that doesn't mean that on that day and in that moment, the 10% time might happen. That is, in my opinion, just impossible to actually predict because it is random. Then you have factors like how will teams respond to the pressure? How will a number one respond if they fall behind in an early round, feeling the history that they'll be talked about year after year for losing at that time? Those are things that are difficult to quantify, even though, for instance, I spend all year getting ready for each March.
Yeah, I mean, one of the questions being asked now, like, can UConn repeat? It hasn't happened since 2007. What's the probability mathematically of something like that?
It's not very high, but at the same time, you also have to think about that they also have the experience in the tournament. And that's what makes that type of probability difficult to actually measure. The fact that we've seen it so infrequently underscores that it isn't very probable. But part of it, again, comes down to at some point, they will probably have a close game. And how will they do with that pressure? Because it is harder when you feel the pressure of repeating.
Yeah, you got a target on your back. AI is being used, Tim, in so many different sectors right now. Sports is no exception. How might it be applied here to bracketology?
AI has been used for a number of years for brackets, and as you've seen, we still didn't have perfect brackets. But in this era of just such leaps and bounds in AI, I'm not exactly sure what we might see with a bracket with AI. It still is going to struggle it probably won't create a perfect bracket because of that randomness. But I, for instance, often don't say my bracket is busted unless I think my bracket can no longer be better than most people's. So it all depends on your goal.
That's right, your overall outlook on it all. We were having a discussion. Are we more likely to win the lottery, and the Powerball and Mega Millions are really high right now, than we are to get a perfect bracket?
Yes, it's more likely that my wife and I will both beat Powerball or win Powerball than that any particular one of us might actually get a perfect bracket.
All right, so go buy your tickets and fill out the bracket because there's still a chance. Okay, thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.